Good morning, everybody, and welcome to PSG of Mercer County. And in addition to good morning, happy Aloha Friday. If those of you are visiting us maybe for the first time or haven't visited us in a long time, yes, no need to adjust your screen. I am indeed wearing one of my many Aloha shirts. I enjoy doing that. If you happen to see me out and about later today, yes, it will be on, just something I like to do. And I actually did find, maybe I'll surprise you in a couple of weeks when it's cold, I found an Aloha sweatshirt. So when it gets cold, I will have a it's a hoodie. So I'll have a hood and a sweatshirt. So I did find one. It did make my wife both chuckle and grimace at the same time. But for that case, she's not quite the person I most rely on my clothing choices. That's okay. So PSG of Mercer County, the professional service group of Mercer County, is a group that is here for you, anybody that is in any kind of career transition. We are here to help make you more efficient and more effective in your own job search. And so that is what we're here for. Oh, and I forgot to mention, today is also, it's a day for everything, National Pizza with the Works Except Anchovies Day. So there's really a national day, not just for pizza, and not just for pizza with the works, but pizza with the works except for anchovies. So somebody just says hold the fishes all the time, I guess. So if you enjoy pizza with the works and don't enjoy the anchovies, you may want to go out to your favorite pizza restaurant and order something just like that. So another national day to celebrate. Among the resources that we have for you, for anybody that's in career transition, of course, is our LinkedIn group. And our LinkedIn group is over 1,690 members. I think it's 1,696 right now. These are all people that have been to at least one of our meetings. So they're at least job seekers or sensitive to the needs of job seekers. And so it is a little bit of a private group in that it's not hidden, but we do ask only that members are people that have visited our group either virtually or in person at least once. And the reason why, we're just trying to keep people out who are only looking to collect groups, collect names, collect lists for their own benefit. We want them to be a little bit vested in helping job search. People in job search. So if you are not yet a member, please go in LinkedIn, the group section, look for our group. It is called PSG of Mercer County. Once you get to the page, there's a join button, press the join button. And about once or twice a week, we check to see who has requested, and then we check our attendance rolls and make sure that you have been here at least once, and we will eagerly let you in. It's a great group for people to share articles, share job leads, introduce yourself. You know, you could just post your elevator pitch. Hello, my name is, this is what I'm looking for. You never know if any of the 1,690 plus people, any one of them may be able to help you just by reading the post that you put there. And also it's nice with joining our group and any group in LinkedIn is even if you're not directly connected, if they're not a first degree connection, by virtue of being in the group, you can use for free the LinkedIn InMail through the group, and you can contact those people. So your number of contacts can increase by close to 1,700 people just by joining our group. We do have a website. Our website is psgofmercercounty.org. psgofmercercounty.org. It is more than just kind of a landing page. It is very much a very robust resource with over 120 web pages. There's a lot of content that we have on our website. And so if you're interested, I do encourage you, go visit the PSG of Mercer County website. We do have a section at the top, it's a menu item right at the top called Career Options. And in that, there's lots of other subsections. So there's a section that talks about getting started in the job search process, or maybe how to work as a consultant. If you're interested in franchising or starting a business, we've got pages and links off of that. Volunteerism and how you can use volunteerism as part of helping your job search. And all those pages can be found under the career options menu items. You may want to take a look at the career options menu item and our website and see if there's some nugget of information that'll just be helpful for you. So the basic ground rules of our meeting today are basically the same as they've been, but for those of you new, I will certainly let you know. I will, in just a moment, introduce and turn our meeting over to Kesha, who's our presenter this morning. And she will share her slide deck. So it's nice. She has a slide deck for us to follow along. We will make the slide deck available a little later today. We are recording this program, so if you miss any tidbit or if you have to leave a little early, you can come back to that. It is on our YouTube channel. That'll be available later today as well. We do ask that you keep your audio, your microphone on mute until there's a point when you are contributing or participating in the discussion. Kesha's going to have a very nice interactive discussion, and so you'll have opportunities to speak with her if you would like. And keep your cameras on if you'd like, or turn them off if you don't want to. A lot of people have pillow head or whatever on these virtual calls, and they just don't want their cameras on. That's fine. If you are interested in asking Kesha a question, and she's going to be eager to hear your questions, you can put that in chat one of two ways. One is you can kind of just type the word question in chat, and chat is in the upper right corner. In the upper right corner, there's a little icon that looks like this. These are my flashcards for people whose speakers go out. And so it's got that little circle with a tab. You click on that and write the question to everyone. It says at the bottom who to send it to. You could send it to Kesha, you could send it to me, but write it to everyone so that everyone has the opportunity to see it. Also, when you write it to everyone, both Kesha and I simultaneously, who will be monitoring chat, will be able to see the question. We'll make sure we don't miss it. We'll do our best. So just write the word question. That's kind of the digital equivalent of raising your hand. If you'd prefer not to speak out loud, write the word question followed by your question. And either Kesha or I will read it out loud and address the question. And the reason why we ask you to put the word question, it helps your question stand out from all the other participation in chat. Some people put their introductions and other useful information. So it just helps us spot that a little bit easier. And so that is what we will be doing for today. And terrific. So we are all set. And so PSG of Mercer County is very pleased to welcome Kesha Butler-Thomas. With clients worldwide, Kesha Butler-Thomas, affectionately known as Coach Kesh, helps her clients elevate their businesses and brands through the usage of data-driven social media methodology. As the founder of Thrive Academy, she has taught her clients how to create an audience of loyal customers using social media, despite the algorithm to advance their brands. Voted New Jersey's top 40 under 40 executives in 2018, Coach Kesh is also the host of Stop Surviving, Start Thriving on RVN TV network streaming to all Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon devices. She's also the Thursday morning co-host of Morning Coffee on Roku TV. Kesha found the need in the marketplace to serve entrepreneurs who are ready to start, build, or scale their companies online. With that realization in mind and a passion for serving, she created a company centered around building out actionable plans for success rooted in authenticity to provide online audiences with an opportunity to experience not just products or services for her clients, but to experience why her clients are the best in their industries. So PSG is pleased to welcome Coach Kesha Butler-Thomas.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I am super excited to be here with all of you today. Dave, everybody from PSG, thank you so much for having me. We're going to have some fun. It's Friday morning, friends. It's the end of my week, and I'm really excited about that. So, a couple of quick things. I know that Dave did mention the chat box. So, oftentimes you guys will hear me say this, meet me in the chat box. That means I am looking for some participation from you guys in that moment. All of the presentations that I give are super interactive. So I will say, meet me in the chat box pretty frequently. So here's your first meet me in the chat box, friends. Let me know that you all are able to see my presentation. You can see the screen. I'm going to make it bigger. Or let me know if this is big enough for you all. As Dave mentioned, I will be providing this slide deck to you all as well. But I just want to make sure that everyone can see what they need to see. See and hear. Amazing. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, Dave. You see it. Okay, these yeses are coming in. We're good to go. I'm excited about this. So before we jump into the presentation, friends, I do want to give some additional information up front. I know that all of you all are in some sort of a transition when it comes to your careers, which can be both exciting and a little bit stressful at the same time. I want to highlight the fact that in today's job market, social media is a huge way to be able to present yourself to potential employers to enable yourself with an opportunity to highlight who you are, what you do, and what makes you amazing. A little bit earlier, Dave referenced the LinkedIn group that PSG does have for you all to take advantage of. I want to highly encourage you all to do that simply because on LinkedIn, there are a ton of other professional people who are ready and willing to connect with you, to learn about you, to help you get that next opportunity, or to help you grow in your current opportunity. So please don't miss that opportunity to be able to do so. With that being said, friends, we're going to jump into Let's Get Social. So Let's Get Social is the 5-phase social media strategy that is going to help each and every one of you be able to build your presence online. On today's agenda, friends, it's very simple. We're going to understand what social media has to offer us. We are also then going to figure out how to build a plan to work with it. We're going to be able to learn how to test that plan because we need to make sure that it actually works. Then we're going to refine it. And that's about it, right? So it's going to be very, very simple. We're going to break this thing down so that everyone here can digest this, because I also understand that social media can be super overwhelming sometimes. I work in social media. I work with over 200 companies in 8 countries, and it is overwhelming. And it's overwhelming for every single one of them, and sometimes myself as well. So with that, super important. I do see Dave is giving you all some additional chat options. Amazing. Thank you, Dave, for holding down the chat while I'm going through this. That is absolutely amazing. So first up, friends, we got to talk about why social media is critical. Meet me in the chat box, friends. How many of you all know that social media is an advertising tool? Yes, amazing. Thank you for that, James. Social media is an advertising tool. For a long time, when it first came about, right, it was a way to connect folks together. For anyone who doesn't know, Facebook started out as a way for students to connect with one another on college campuses. I actually remember back when Facebook first came out, which I'm not going to tell anybody how old I am because I actually look a lot younger than I am. But with Facebook's origin, I remember that you had to have a college email address to even acquire an account. It was completely impossible to get on the medium if you did not have a college account. Today, Facebook is the #1 advertising agency in the world, which sounds so crazy, friends, but that is where we are. And with that, it's important to remember that social media is powerful. This tool is allowing business owners to connect directly with their ideal clients or ideal candidates in real time. It's allowing businesses the ability to have unique looks at their clients or potential new hires and access what their current needs are. I want to pause right there, friends. Social media can be a huge help in your job search, but I would be remiss not to note the fact that it can also be a detriment, especially contingent upon what you are utilizing the medium for and the content that you are posting. I encourage you all to remember that employers are looking at social media, and so we want to be very sensitive in the information that we're putting on these mediums and the mediums that we're sharing with them. I always encourage people to keep something private. For me, Facebook is private. I work in social media, so you can find me everywhere in the world at Life Coach Keish, except my Facebook. I reserve that for my friends and my family and a space for me to be able to be Kesha. But every place else is open. And so I'm very careful about the content that I put out on those other mediums that are public, because we never want someone to get a bad impression on who we are prior to actually getting an opportunity to interact with us. Meet me in the chat box, friends. I want to make sure that that landed and we're on the same page there with how social media is going to be able to help us, but how we also need to be careful with the content in which we're putting out that's public content. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Thanks for that, Dave. With that being said, friends, I want you guys to understand what social media marketing, what that brand building, what it is that you guys need to do in order to really build something that makes a potential employer say, this person may be the one for the job. Step one, friends, is consistency, right? Social media is this huge, massive place, and there's tons of people, right? And we need to be able to stand out. One of the ways in which we can do that is through being consistent. Next up is being authentic, friends. This is really, really big. And I want to pause right here on authenticity. I see a question here. What is online will last longer than a piece of paper than is printed on? Oh, okay. So that was actually a statement. Thank you so much for that, Joe. Yes, what is online is definitely going to last longer than what's printed on a piece of paper. With that being said, though, friends, jumping back into authenticity, right? For many, many, many years, we were taught that authenticity needed to be censored, right? We could be ourselves in business to a certain degree. Then there's a level of decorum which we need to implement. Social media is the same exact way. We want to infuse our morals, values, and beliefs into what we're putting into the universe. However, we also want to make sure that we're being sensitive to audiences. As Joe so eloquently put in the chat, these things do outlast paper, right? We never can get rid of things once we put them online. Somebody may copy them, screenshot them, record them, what have you. And so it's not going anywhere. So I want to just encourage you, when you're being authentic, to make sure that you're also exercising decorum. Next up is targeting your message. If you are an engineer and you are utilizing something like LinkedIn to find a job opportunity, it's important that the content that you are putting out is about you in that engineering space. Perhaps you're sharing your expertise in the space. Perhaps you are sharing articles that reference something that you have expertise on, right? Making sure that people understand what you are amazing at. And last but not least, we want to provide value. We want employers to know why we should be selected for these opportunities. And the way in which we do that is by providing value. Don't be afraid to get involved with conversations that are going to showcase your expertise. For example, meet me in the chat box, friends. How many of you guys have been maybe on LinkedIn or even on Facebook, and something comes up, a discussion, an article, something like that, that is in your zone of genius, in the space in which you excel? I know I see it all the time. Stuff comes up on social media all the time, even though we're on social. People still talk about social on social. And so I see that a lot. Okay, and I see some sures, some sometimes right. So when you see those are great opportunities to participate in the conversation. Showcase your knowledge on those posts. People want to see that, and employers are actually looking at that as well. So there are some ABCs of social media marketing, friends, and I make these super quick, super clear, right? First and foremost, we want people to get aware, right? Awareness is key. Get them interested in you, get them interested in your expertise, right? Then there's brand loyalty, right? We want to convince people that we are the best at what we do. And last but not least, friends, we want to get involved in community. Community is the way in which we build togetherness online. So then we have traditional marketing versus social media marketing. And I'm not going to dig into this too deep. You guys can read this slide. It's packed full of a lot of stuff. But basically what this slide says is we can market traditionally through networking, right? Through coming to groups like this, through going out in public to various groups, job fairs, what have you. Or we can also market on social media where we can be in real time with people on a day-to-day basis where we don't have to wait for the next job fair or for the next gathering. And so I encourage you to make sure that you are exercising both. I also want to share with you guys just a little tidbit that I think is a lot of fun. So there's something called the social media penetration rate. What the penetration rate is, friends, is it lets us know how many people globally are actually utilizing social media. At the end of 2020, a survey was conducted, and we found that 53.6% of people globally are utilizing social media, not just personally, but from a business standpoint as well. Now, when you think about this, friends, this is massive because we're not talking about just in New Jersey or just in the United States. We are talking about global opportunities to get in front of other people. I will tell you all this, in the last 18 months, especially through this pandemic, one of the things that we have learned is this world is actually a lot smaller than we think. And so we have an opportunity to get jobs all over the world because work at home has totally become a thing over the last 18 months. And so if I have an opportunity to get in front of potentially 53.6% of people globally, I want to be there. I want to be on social. Whether I love social or not, I know that I need to be there because I know there's opportunity for me in the market. And so there is a clear business correlation, right? Because given the large amounts of people utilizing social media, it's clear that there's a necessity to create a digital footprint that will help you drive your awareness. And when I speak about brand awareness, friends, that's you, the individual. You are your brand. You are selling who you are, what you do, and what makes you amazing to any potential employer. And so you want every single opportunity possible for you to do just that. The next step, friends, is for you to plan. We need to have a really clear plan on what we're going to do. And I want to share some information from some of my friends in the industry. First and foremost is social media has been the single leading driver for my clients' business revenue during 2020. This is a really important note from Amara, friends, because what this is letting you know is not only are her clients utilizing social media to meet people, they're also using it to drive revenue. And so employers today want to know that you have that familiarity with social media so that you too can aid in driving that revenue. Additionally, now we create marketing plans where over half of the focus is on social media. My good friend Johnson works as a marketing strategist for a global charity, actually, and he found that they now are doing half of their marketing for talent, for the actual business on social. And last but not least, my dear friend Becca found that social media helped her stay in business during the pandemic. So if it wasn't for her social presence, her personal business would have gone under. With that, friends, the next question then becomes, well, where do I start? I know that I need to be here. I know that I need to do this thing. How do I even get started, right? And I know that it can be overwhelming because there's a lot of components to think about. And so I want to highlight the fact that you don't need to be everywhere. There are a lot of social media channels. Some of those big ones are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok, Clubhouse, and the list goes on. But I want to remind you that when you are in this space, in this job transition space, the main place that you want to be is on LinkedIn. Really, because LinkedIn presents a community of people who are looking to do business right now. Those are people who are serious in their industry. We know, statistically speaking, that people on LinkedIn are opportunity seekers and opportunity providers. And so you want to be sure that if you are not interacting anywhere else, you at least have a LinkedIn profile, especially because the LinkedIn profile presents you with the opportunity to highlight your accolades, right? If you find someone on LinkedIn, you can learn all about them, their past employment, various awards and recognition that they have. You can see testimonials on work that people have conducted. LinkedIn is a great medium for where you all are in this employment transition. So after you select your medium, you then of course want to do some research, right? Where are the people that I need to be talking to on LinkedIn? Are they in groups? Should I be connecting with them personally, right? Then you want to play around with the user friendliness. Are you comfortable with the platform, right? Take some time exploring the platform. Then you want to collect a little bit of data. And for you guys with data collection, it's what companies do I want to get in front of? And how are they showing up on LinkedIn? Can I find the company page? Can I find people who work with the company and connect with them directly? Who and where are these folks on social? And last but not least, take a look at the analytics, right? And when I say analytics from a job seeking standpoint, it's, does this person interact on LinkedIn? So I connected with them. I know they're at a company that I potentially would like to work with. Are they interacting? Do they make posts? Could I send them a message? How can I get in front of this person? And then, of course, friends, you want to build your audience. So similar to what I was just saying, you want to be connecting with the companies and the individuals who work at the various companies, right? You want them to get to meet you. You want them to get to see you. I see commenting on LinkedIn groups specific to what you do is very effective. Yes, Wayne, I love that you put that in the chat box. It's extremely effective, right? And we want to be joining those communities and those groups and getting involved so people can see that you are the go-to expert in your industry. Thank you so much for that, Wayne. That was amazing. Next up is channeling your energy, which goes hand in hand with what our dear friend Wayne just said, right? Channeling your energy in those spaces that are specific to you, your zone of genius. Being there, showing up, being consistent, and being authentic in your messaging. There's some decisions that we want to build on too, friends, right? First up is brand voice. How do you want people to feel when they interact with you? What do you want people to think about you after they read a post that you put out, after they see a video that you do, right? Then we want to reference the platform's purpose in conjunction with that. So we know that on LinkedIn, we are there so that we can change our situation. May that be grow in the position we're in, find a new position, whatever that may be. And last but not least, the social media ecosystem, right? Which means that we want to utilize our messages in a couple of different ways. Meet me in the chat box, friends. Has anybody in this group ever done video on social media? Maybe you have YouTube, maybe you've done a live talk on social. Curious to know that. I see some no's. Okay, so those video interactions are another really great way to be able to have people experience who you are. Perhaps you choose a topic in your industry and you just have some conversation about that. I will tell you guys a real life example of how this works out. I own my company and I wasn't seeking any additional opportunities. I actually am, aside from what I do, I am also a professor of social media marketing at Temple University. I got that job not because I was looking for it, but because the dean of students was Googling social media experts, happened to come across my videos and reached out to me. I never submitted an application. I didn't even know there was an opening. But because he was able to experience me and my energy in video, he reached out to me. And I now have the opportunity to touch the lives of students who are up and coming in this industry. So if you have not done video and you're like, I don't know if that's for me, it may not be. But if you're open to it, I encourage you to give it a chance, because you never know who may find that video and provide you with your next opportunity. In addition to that, friends, we want to test what we're doing on social media. Some of the ways in which we test that are through metrics that I'm sure lots of you have heard of, right? Views, how many people watched something, how many people saw a post, right? Clicks. Clicks are also synonymous with the infamous like. How many people like what you posted, right? Then we have comments. Who's talking to you? Who's interacting with you? Then we have shares. How many people are taking your information and sharing it with someone else? And last but not least, our reach. And our reach directly is connected to how many people are getting to experience us on social. Once we do that, we want to evaluate the effectiveness, friends. When you are posting on social media, are these things helping you advance yourself from your current situation to the next opportunity? The way in which we know that, friends, is anybody reaching back out. If you're putting yourself out there, are you having conversations that you would have never had before? Are you meeting people and interacting with people who you may have never met or interacted with before? Those are great ways to measure the effectiveness. Then, of course, we need to refine the strategy. If no one is seeing it, if no one is commenting, if no one is reaching out, how can we take that strategy that we implemented and refine it so that we can get the engagement that we are seeking? We have some reliable social media channels, friends, to where you can get additional tips and tricks and all those sorts of things. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're also on Instagram. We're on every social media. You can find me everywhere in the world at Life Coach Kesha. However, if you're looking for some more of these informational style presentations, we do have those in those places for you all. But I do want to just kind of summarize everything that we spoke about this morning, right? From the understanding the medium, right? Understanding why we need to be doing this. I'm big on understanding the why, friends, because if we don't know why we're doing something, it's meaningless, right? Then the plan, making sure that we're not just jumping into social media with both feet with no clear plan on what it is that we're going to do, right? Next up is building out the way in which we want to be represented as the go-to experts in our industry. Then we want to test it out, right? Is this working? Or is this helping me advance my agenda? And last but not least, we want to refine what we're doing. If I can be of any assistance to any of you in this development of your social, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I will provide Dave with all the different ways that you guys can connect with me if you have, things that you want to go through specifically. But at this time, I like to leave tons of time for questions so that I can take those and try to help you in every possible way I can this morning with your social media journeys and building out your brand so that people can get to know who you are, what you do, and what makes you amazing.
Okay, folks, this is our time. So please ask your questions away of Coach Kesha. And as you can see, she's a bundle of energy, has a lot of excitement and passion for the topic. It's a great resource for all of us. So ask away. I'll start out with one. You gave us a great 5 steps, I guess the 5 phases to kind of focus on so we can get started. How do we decide which should be the first platform we should look to start promoting? How do we get ourselves in that direction?
Yeah, so I love that you asked that. So as I had stated, in this particular transition phase that you all are in, LinkedIn is going to be the place in which you really want to start. Really, because it's the medium that allows you to show your expertise the most. We find historically that LinkedIn has been a great way to be able to put up our professional accolades in a very clear, concise way so that people can really get to know what we do and what we specialize in. LinkedIn also provides us with a great way to get testimonials. For anybody who has a LinkedIn page, Dave, earlier, you and I believe it was John, I could be wrong, we're speaking about connecting with people whom you had worked with previously. There's no better endorsement to your skills than getting an endorsement from someone whom you have worked with. LinkedIn provides a section for them to leave those testimonials right there on your profile. And so if you guys have those connections with folks who you've worked with in the past, or even folks you've managed or folks who have managed you, I encourage you to reach out to them, especially on LinkedIn, and see if they'd be willing to leave a review. Great way for an employer to be able to do their reference checks without actually needing to take another step.
Yeah, certainly you had said early on, this is overwhelming. There's, thousands, millions of sites that are out there. There are probably hundreds that may be relevant to us professionally. But what's important is start with one. It's kind of like that old joke, how do you eat the 1,000-pound elephant? Well, that's overwhelming, but one bite at a time. So I guess LinkedIn is a great place to start.
It definitely is. And the fact that you all have such a vast network there as well, where that's a great group to start in, right? Starting with the PSG group, getting to know some folks who are, potentially in your area, maybe in your industry, going through some of the same things that you are. Great place to start building community.
Terrific.
I'd like to mention that the workplace is getting younger, and the people that are out there, even your bosses, are younger, and most of the younger people use social media all the time. So maybe you're not very good with social media and it's not your thing, but you have to market yourself, and the way to market yourself is to go where people who are looking for the people are going to be, and then that will be in the social media areas.
Absolutely, Wayne. That is such a great point. And I will tell you, it's really funny. We're even seeing in business, people are asking for social media handles before websites. It has become the way in which we are checking on individuals as well as businesses. And so thank you so much for sharing that, Wayne. That was really, really an awesome tidbit. I see here in the chat box, is LinkedIn also the best way to market a business? Alan, thank you for asking that question. So it depends on the sort of business that you have and who your target market is. When you're marketing an actual business, all of those factors come into play. For product-based businesses, LinkedIn is not the best place, as that platform doesn't really serve in a way in which you can showcase products most effectively. However, if you are a consultant, LinkedIn can be a great place for you to be able to exercise your expertise. So, contingent upon what your business is comprised of, is going to depend on the medium that you want to use. If you do have a product based business, mediums like Instagram, mediums like Pinterest are great places for you to be, because they start off with an aesthetically pleasing thing like that product and then move into word copy, versus a service based provider like an accountant, a lawyer, or even even a consultant. I hope that helps. Next question I see is, how do you suggest making a profile if there are a few different types of jobs that I'm interested in qualifying for? I don't want to seem too much like a jack of all trades, but also don't want to close off opportunities. Oh, this is such a great question. And I want to make sure that I'm saying your name correctly, because I like to honor everyone's name. Is it Siobhan? Just want to be clear. Hopefully I'm correct. If I said that incorrectly, please charge that to my head and not my heart. I always want to honor people's names. However, this is a great question. So one of the best parts about LinkedIn in particular is being able to highlight different things on the profile. And so contingent upon the market that you're looking to be in, and I'm curious to know that because there's a lot of different ways that we could spin this, but contingent on the market, right? Sometimes there's a way in which LinkedIn will allow you to string your expertise together to highlight in different parts or different times in your life you were specializing in different things, as well as there is an accolades and awards portion on LinkedIn that will allow you to highlight some of those things in the various industries that make you special to that. I also suggest always that if you're seeking opportunities and you could be in different industries, that, excuse me, in your welcome line on LinkedIn, which everybody is able to put up, which is the line where you'll see I do ABC 1 2 3, or I work for this company, blah blah blah. I always encourage people to put something like currently a job seeker who is multifaceted, particularly in, and list the 2 or 3 main areas in which you would excel. I hope that's helpful. I also see another question here. Is it important to be all over social media, or is focusing on certain channels better, not being scattered all over? So Patrick, that's a great question. One of the things that I always teach my clients is you only need to be where you are comfortable and where you feel is going to help you excel the most. So for a person like me who works in social, I'm all over the place, right? Because I teach it. But for someone who is specifically only looking to use social to find a job, you only need to be in the places in which you think are going to help you advance in that search, places like LinkedIn, maybe Facebook, right? And then additionally, understanding that just because there's all this stuff going on, it doesn't mean that you need to participate, because the last piece to social is confidence. And so you need to show up where you feel most confident and where you feel like you can showcase yourself at your best. Okay, that's not a question. Question. Okay. Is it important? Okay, got that one. Thank you. Name pronunciation was perfect. Oh, good. Siobhan, thank you for telling me that it was right. I was going to feel so bad if I got that wrong. Alizetta, I see. If you were to recommend the best LinkedIn or else resource, such as book on YouTube, to help while building your online presence, what would that be? Oh, there's so many good ones. But a very good friend of mine named Nikki Nash wrote a book. It's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, so have you. It's called Market Your Genius. Market Your Genius is a great book because it teaches you how to create a marketing plan for yourself. And ultimately, when we are seeking new opportunities, we need to market ourselves, right? And so Nikki's book does a great job at explaining how to do that. And I'll actually put it in the chat because she spells her name a little bit differently. And again, it's available on all mediums, Amazon, Kindle, in-store at Barnes & Noble, some Targets, Costco's, pretty much any place that you buy a book. You can likely find Market Your Genius. I actually do have a copy that I can show you guys as well if you just need to see what that cover looks like. I know that sometimes the Amazon Marketplace can get really full. And so I'll do that once we get to the networking portion. I'll grab that book and I'll show you guys. Absolutely, absolutely. Just catching up on the chat box here, friends. I see you had better be consistent. Yes, yes, yes. Consistency is the key. Consistency and authenticity, right? Being exactly who you are and showing up in the marketplace on a consistent basis. And I also want to just highlight consistency. It looks different for everyone. For some people, consistency is every single day. For other people, consistency is maybe, twice a week with a really strong message. And so don't feel as though you need to be there every single day, all day either when it comes to consistency. Oh, there it is right there. Thanks, Dave, for grabbing that off of Amazon. That's great.
So I have another question, Kesh, which is, you talked about LinkedIn being, for us a great first social media platform, how robust it is, certainly for job seekers or people in business. When we're ready to move on to a second or third, how do we find good platforms where our audience may be, the people that we want to either reach or the people we want to read?
Sure. So I think that the next step for anyone is always Facebook, right? Facebook historically is a great community builder. And Facebook also has a lot of resources for people who are looking to kind of grow themselves, their brand, and also make connections. So Facebook, because it plays so nicely with other mediums, is good, because you can ultimately create content on Facebook and share that with other places. And Facebook is also great because people will get to see a little bit more of that personal side of you. In today's world, people are very interested in getting to know who you are as a person. I know when I started out in corporate America years ago, I never talked about what I did once I left work. My weekends, people would say, "What you do this weekend?" or "How was your weekend?" And you just say, "It was good," and you move on. We didn't really talk about our spouses or children, or aside from, "Oh, my daughter, it's her birthday," or something like that, right? But we didn't really get into it. Nowadays, folks are very much into that. And so I think that Facebook allows us to have a way to showcase who we are a little bit more, because people do want to know that. Next question. What vitamins are you taking? I don't take any vitamins. However, I do take sea moss and elderberry every single day, to make sure that my energy is always where it needs to be. I hope that's helpful.
I think it's working.
Well, thank you.
Lots of energy, terrific energy.
What are your thoughts on political, social justice content and social media, especially if it's important to you? Obviously not on LinkedIn, but thinking of other platforms. Siobhan, I am a firm believer in standing in my morals, values, and beliefs. Sometimes topics of politics and social justice are directly affected by my morals, values, and beliefs. And so I encourage people to speak about it as much or as little as they are comfortable with. I think that, as with anything, of course, you want to exercise decorum and be open to the fact that you may potentially interact with people who do not share in the same thought process that you do. I think that when you are willing to share your thoughts on political and social justice information, that you also have to be willing to hear other people's thoughts and opinions as well. So as long as you are open to that, I believe it's certainly fine. I do not encourage anyone to get into written spars about the way in which they feel about things, because ultimately, again, as we mentioned earlier, the things that are online don't go away. And you would never want a conversation that you were having around a topic to come back and negatively affect you. And so always be careful in the way in which you express it. But if it does impede on your morals, values, and beliefs, I think it's totally fine to address it, as long as you're open to both sides. I see. What is the best way to market yourself on social media if you are concerned about negative feedback? How do you overcome that obstacle? Michael, I do have a clarifying question there. Are you talking about negative feedback on your expertise or negative feedback on you, the person? I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, and you can unmute if you want to just respond to that. Oh, there it is.
Absolutely. I would love to just talk to you. Okay. Expertise. Okay. So, Michael, I think it's important to remember that you've attained that expertise because you have worked within that industry. And I think that we have to remember social media is a conversation. And so there's always going to be an opinion that may not favor what it is that we are doing, saying, how we're interacting, or what have you. But remember that there is also a community who is going to love it. And so I believe that we have to shift our focus onto the community of champions that we have versus the community of naysayers. Although I know sometimes the naysayers feel louder, it's important to remember that when you are expressing yourself on social, you are in fact reaching a community of champions as well.
And Michael Colbert has a question, and I think he will unmute himself. Michael?
Yes, I figured it would just be easier to ask this. There have been times where, since I get the newspaper and I read people's opinion pieces and things like that, that I've wanted to write a letter to the editor expressing my opinion, but particularly when I'm looking for a job, the fact that you have to give your full name and your town, I'm always afraid, someone will read that who is someone, I'm dealing with, and it might influence their opinion on me as a person. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were on, that.
Yeah, so I think that it's certainly possible, right? Anytime we are expressing an opinion in any way, there's opportunity for someone to absorb that information and form an opinion about us or our thoughts. That is possible in the newspaper, as you said, online. That's possible in person, just in having a conversation. So I think, again, similar to speaking about those political and social justice things, we have to remember that if we are going to open up the conversation and share our side, we have to be willing to take on some of those opposing views, knowing that we are stating our opinion with the best of intentions and being capable and willing to also have that conversation should someone question that of you.
Well, the second part of this, is there a way to separate your opinion? Your opinion is who you are. It's not what you can do for someone else. Is there a way to separate those two things?
Michael, I will be very honest with you. Prior to about 5 years ago, absolutely. Absolutely, we could separate what I call separating church and state. Absolutely, we could. In today's world, because of the rise of social, because of the rise of opinion pieces, it has become more intertwined in what we do, also being who we are. And so I would love to tell you that there's a seamless, easy way to be able to separate the two today. But unfortunately, the world doesn't allow us to do that anymore. And so now we just have to be willing to stand strong in what it is that we're going to say. And we also need to be willing, to be open to having conversations with other people, which of course is easier said than done as well. But this rise in social, this rise in political awareness as well, has unfortunately muddled the waters.
Folks, any other questions or thoughts while we have Coach Kesha with us right now? And of course, we will keep the meeting room open after we end the meeting, and she is able to stay around for a little while. But while we've got the platform right now, if you'd like, please ask away. She's so eager to be able to answer your questions.
I think there was a question earlier in the chat. Do you have any resources that you recommend for building social media profiles?
Oh, I apologize. I think we missed that, Dave. We didn't catch that question.
Yeah, me
Absolutely.
too. Sorry.
Absolutely. I will share with Dave a full list that he can share with you guys. I'm sure there's is there an email list, Dave?
Well, what we do is we do post any material you provide us. We post that on our website. The link is called Meeting Presentation Documents. And actually, I just right now posted the slide deck just this very moment. So it's there.
Amazing, amazing. I will also provide you with a full list of resources to help you build your profiles. I will give you guys individuals if you like to work with individual people. I'll also give you reading materials as well.
Thank you very much. And also, I am also just putting your contact information as well in our chat. I'll also put the chat log, which I do every week as well. So if somebody misses or doesn't copy down your contact information properly, they can always go back and get it right from the chat log in the meeting presentation. So that's available because you, of course, are a resource.
Sure thing. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I am happy to do LinkedIn audits for you all. If you connect with me, I'll be able to actually see your full profile, and I'm happy to provide you with any feedback if you're interested.
Wow, terrific. Thank you. Any other thoughts, folks? Questions, comments, just before we kind of end the formal part of the meeting?
I have just one little question. With the list, Kesha, you said you were going to provide, and you made it sound like there's 87 different things on it, which is fine. Do they happen to be in a priority order that if you're just getting into this, or you want to focus on the important things, like the first 5 are really the main ones you would like people to concentrate on, or is it just a random list in that sense?
So it's a random resource list, and it's only about 10 things on the list, Pat. So I don't want you to think that you're going to have to read through a bunch of pages of stuff, because you won't. It's about 10 bullet points. Hence why they're not in any particular order. It's a fairly short list, but it will provide you with some starting points to build a foundation.
Thank you.
Sure. Should social media strategy be different for younger versus older job seekers? Social media is universal, and the basic strategy is universal. Now, we do find that millennials tend to want to put more of their personality and personal information into social versus our seekers who are 45 plus. However, I also have worked with people who are 45 plus who are like, hey, I want people to know exactly who I am, and they infuse their personality into that. That's really the only difference that we see, is how much personality someone wants to infuse into the profile, which is, again, is super universal, totally up to you. There are plenty of people who are 45 plus who are like, hey, this is me, and I want you to know this up front. Thank you for that question, Vance.
Okay, going once, going twice. So terrific. So I think all this is the opportunity to wrap up the formal part of our meeting. But like, even if we were in person, we'd hang around the meeting room, and we're going to do that virtually in a moment with the microphones on, but the recording off. So no worries about that. But Kesha, thank you so much. I really appreciated in your presentation the format, the PowerPoint portion, showing us those 5 phases or those 5 steps, because it really for us creates an outline. And if we're new to this or struggling, even if we're not new, but just struggling to become effective, we've got a guide to kind of follow. And I also appreciated the message that you said, you know, it is overwhelming. You acknowledged it right from the beginning. Social media, there's a gazillion sites that are out there and platforms, and some that are right for us and some that are not meant for us or our message and our brand. But you acknowledge it is social media, and getting started with just one, and LinkedIn is probably for us right now the best one to put a little bit more effort into, really helps us. It's a clarifying point for us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much again. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate this. Get my Friday morning started with you guys. And as Dave said, I'll hang around. Feel free if you want to put anything in the chat box, if you want to message me privately in the chat box, however it is you want to interact with me, I'm super happy to do it.
Wow, thank you so much. And we certainly appreciate you being such a good friend to PSG of Mercer County. And for those of us hanging around still, just want to let you know, next week we will be right back here, next Friday at 10 o'clock. Bill Pagula will be here talking about develop your marketing plan. So really a strategy and an approach really to help you promote and market yourself in the job market and promoting your career. So that will be next Friday, the 19th at 10 o'clock in the morning. The following Friday, it's Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. We will actually not have a meeting. We will be taking that Friday off. So hopefully you will be recovering from a happy Thanksgiving or starting your Thanksgiving shopping, and get your shopping done early. They're talking about logistic issues, so you'll need the day for that. And other groups in the area that have terrific programs as well. The Breakfast Club of New Jersey will be meeting tomorrow morning. That's the 13th at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you'll have to get up early and get that cup of coffee. It is a virtual meeting, so check out thebreakfastclubnj.com, thebreakfastclubnj.com to get the connection info. Bill LaChance and Sean Lavison will be talking about money-saving strategies during a career transition. It's always a wonderful presentation. They were both here a little over a month ago, so if you missed that, you'll have an opportunity to catch them again. Also on Monday mornings at 10:30, PSG of Central New Jersey meets, one of our cousin organizations, psgcnj.biz, and our other cousin organization, PSG of Morris County, psgmc.org, meets Wednesdays at 9:30 in the morning. Go check out those groups as well. So once again, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Kesha, thank you terrifically. Thank you for a wonderful, energetic and robust program about using social media effectively and how to get started. This was really very helpful for all of us. I enjoyed it, and appreciate your participation with us as well. And until we hopefully get to see you all very soon, if not in person, maybe virtually by next week, simply say bye, everybody.